Padmasambhava, also known as Guru Rinpoche, was an 8th-century Indian Buddhist master. Although there was a historical Padmasambhava, nothing is known of him apart from helping the construction of the first Buddhist monastery in Tibet at Samye at the behest of Trisong Detsen, and shortly thereafter leaving Tibet due to court intrigues. A number of legends have grown around Padmasambhava's life and deeds, and he is widely venerated as a second Buddha across Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, and the Himalayan states of India. In Tibetan Buddhism, he is a character of a genera of literature called terma, an emanation of Amitābha that is said to appear to tertöns in visionary encounters and a focus of guru yoga practice, particularly in the Rimé schools. The Nyingma school considers Padmasambhava to be a founder of the tradition. Mythos Sources Nyangral Namarosa was the principal architect of the Padmasambhava mythos according to Janet Gyatso. Guru Choang was the next major contributor to the mythos. In the 11th and 12th centuries there were several competing terma traditions surrounding Padmasambhava: Vimalamitra, Songsan Gampo, and Vairotsana. At the end of the 12th century, there was the victory of the Padmasambhava cult, in which a much greater role is assigned to the role of Padmasambhava in the introduction of Buddhism to Tibet. Early years. Birth. According to tradition, Padmasambhava was incarnated as an 8-year-old child appearing in a lotus blossom floating in Lake Narnakosha, in the kingdom of Vajrayana, while some scholars locate this kingdom in the Swat Valley area of modern-day Pakistan. A case on literary, archaeological, and iconographical grounds can be made for placing it in the present-day state of Odisha in India. Padmasambhava's special nature was recognized by the childless local king of Vajrayana and was chosen to take over the kingdom, but he left Vajrayana for northern parts of India. Tantra in India and Nepal in Rawals are known as Tsopema in Tibetan. He secretly taught tantric teachings to Princess Mandarava, the local king's daughter. The king found out and tried to burn him, but it is believed that when the smoke cleared he just sat there, still alive and in meditation. Greatly astonished by this miracle, the king offered Padmasambhava both his kingdom and Mandarava. Padmasambhava left with Mandarava and took to Miratika cave in Nepal to practice secret tantric consort rituals. They had a vision of Buddha Amitābha and achieved what is called the Fuar rainbow body, a very rare type of spiritual realization. Both Padmasambhava and one of his consorts, Mandarava, are still believed to be alive and active in this rainbow body form by the followers. She and Padmasambhava's other main consort, Yeshsogyal, who reputedly hid his numerous termas in Tibet for later discovery, reached Buddhahood. Many thankasan paintings show Padmasambhava in between them, with Mandarava on his right and Yeshsogyal on his left. Tibet's subjection of local religions. According to Sam Van Schaik, from the 12th century on a greater role was assigned to Padmasambhava in the introduction of Tantric Buddhism into Tibet. According to earlier histories, Padmasambhava had given some Tantric teachings to Tibetans before being forced to leave due to the suspicions of the Tibetan court. But from the 12th century an alternative story, itself a terma discovery, gave Padmasambhava a much greater role in the introduction of Buddhism to Tibet, and in particular credited him with traveling all over the country to convert the local spirits to Buddhism. According to this enlarged story, King Trisong Detsen, the 38th king of the Yarlung dynasty and the first emperor of Tibet, invited the Nalanda University abbot Antarakshita to Tibet. Antarikshita started the building of Samye. Demonical forces hindered the introduction of the Buddhist Dharma, and Padmasambhava was invited to Tibet to subdue the demonic forces. The demons were not annihilated, but were obliged to submit to the Dharma. This was in accordance with the Tantric principle of not eliminating negative forces but redirecting them to fuel the journey towards spiritual awakening. According to tradition, Padmasambhava received the emperor's wife, identified with the Dakini Yesh'ogil, as a consort. Translations: King Trisong Detsen ordered the translation of all Buddhist Dharma texts into Tibetan. Padmasambhava Shantarikshita, 108 translators, and 25 of Padmasambhava's nearest disciples worked for many years in a gigantic translation project. The translations from this period formed the base for the large scriptural transmission of Dharma teachings into Tibet. Padmasambhava supervised mainly the translation of Tantra. Shantarikshita concentrated on the sutra teachings. Nyingma Padmasambhava introduced the people of Tibet to the practice of Tantric Buddhism. He is regarded as the founder of the Nyingma tradition. The Nyingma tradition is the oldest of the four major schools of Tibetan Buddhism. The Nyingma tradition actually comprises several distinct lineages that all trace their origins to Padmasambhava. Nyingma literally means ancient, and is often referred to as Ngagyur, or the early translation school, because it is founded on the first translations of Buddhist scriptures from Sanskrit into Tibetan. In the 8th century, the group particularly believes in hidden terma treasures. Traditionally, Nyingma practice was advanced orally among a loose network of lay practitioners. Monasteries with celibate monks, the nuns, along with the practice of reincarnated spiritual leaders, are later adaptations. Though Padmasambhava is regarded as the founder of Samye Gompa, the first monastery in the country, in modern times the Nyingma lineage has been centered in Kham in eastern Tibet. Bhutan has many important pilgrimage places associated with Padmasambhava. The most famous is Paro Tak Sang, or Tiger's Nest Monastery, which is built on a sheer cliff wall about 500 meters above the floor of Paro Valley. It was built around the Tak Sang Senj Samdup cave, where he is said to have meditated in the 8th century. He flew there from Tibet on the back of Yesh'ogil, whom he transformed into a flying tigress for the purpose of the trip. Later he traveled to Bumthang district to subdue a powerful deity offended by a local king. Padmasambhava's body imprint can be found in the wall of a cave at nearby Kuryolakang temple. Iconography, manifestations and attributes. Iconography. General: he has one face and two hands. He is wrathful and smiling. He blazes magnificently with the splendor of the major and minor marks. Head: on his head he wears a 5-petaled lotus hat, which has 3 points symbolizing the 3 kayas, 5 colors symbolizing the 5 kayas, a sun and moon symbolizing skillful means and wisdom, a vajra top to symbolize unshakable samadhi, a vulture's feather to represent the realization of the highest view. His 2 eyes are wide open in a piercing gaze. He has the youthful appearance of an 8-year-old child. Skin: his complexion is white with a tinge of red. Dress: on his body he wears a white vajra undergarment. On top of this skin layers a red robe, a dark blue mantrayana tunic, a red monastic shawl decorated with a golden flower pattern, and a maroon cloak of silk brocade. On his body he wears a silk cloak, dharma robes and gown. He is wearing the dark blue gown of a mantra practitioner, the red and yellow shawl of a monk, the maroon cloak of a king, and the red robe and secret white garments of a bodhisattva. Hands in his right hand, he holds a 5-pronged vajra at his heart. His left hand rests in the gesture of equanimity. In his left hand he holds a skull cup brimming with nectar, containing the vase of longevity that is also filled with the nectar of deathless wisdom and ornamented on top by a wish-fulfilling tree. Khatvanga. The Khatvanga is a particular divine attribute of Padmasambhava and intrinsic to his iconographic representation. It is a danda with 3 severed heads denoting the 3 kayas, crowned by a trisula, and dressed with a sash of the Himalayan rainbow of 5 pure lights of the Mahabhuta. The iconography is utilized in various tantric cycles by practitioners as symbols to hidden meanings in transmitted practices. Cradled in his left arm he holds the 3-pointed Khatvanga symbolizing the princess consort Mandarava, one of his 2 main consorts, who arouses the wisdom of bliss and emptiness, concealed as the 3-pointed Khatvanga trident. Other sources say that the Khatvanga represents the Lady Yesh-Sogyal, his primary consort and main disciple. Its 3 points represent the essence, nature, and compassionate energy. Below these 3 prongs are 3 severed heads, dry, fresh and rotten, symbolizing the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. 9 iron rings adorning the prongs represent the 9 yanas. 5 colored strips of silk symbolize the 5 wisdoms. The Khatvanga is also adorned with locks of hair from dead and living mammos and Dakinis, as a sign that the master subjugated them all when he practiced austerities in the 8 great charnel grounds. He is seated with his 2 feet in the royal posture. Surrounding all around him, within a lattice of 5-colored light, appear the 8 Vidyadharas of India, the 25 disciples of Tibet, the deities of the 3 roots, and an ocean of oath-bound protectors. There are further iconographies and meanings in more advanced and secret stages. 8 manifestations. Padmasambhava is said to have taken 8 forms or manifestations representing different aspects of his being, such as wrath or pacification for example. According to Rigpa, the 8 principal forms were assumed by Guru Rinpoche at different points in his life. The 8 manifestations of Padmasambhava belong to the tradition of the revealed treasures. Guru Orgen Dorje Chang, the Vajra holder, shown dark blue in color in the attire of the Sambhogakaya, depicted in union with consort. Guru Shakyu Sanjeev Bodhgaya, lion of the Sakyas, who learns the tantric practices of the 8 Vidyadharas. He is shown as a fully ordained Buddhist monk. Guru Pemagulpo Avadayana, the Lotus Prince, king of the Tripitaka. He is shown looking like a young crowned prince or king. Guru Pema Jungna Lotus Arisen, the savior who teaches the Dharma to the people. He is shown sitting on a lotus, dressed in the 3 robes of a monk, under which he wears a blue shirt, pants and heavy Tibetan boots. As protection against the cold, he holds the diamond scepter of compassionate love in his right hand and the yogi's skull bowl of clear wisdom in his left. He has a special trident called Khatvanga of a wandering yogi, and wears on his head a Nepalese cloth crown, stylistically designed to remind one of the shape of a lotus flower. Thus he is represented as he must have appeared in Tibet. On Wikimedia Commons, Guru Loden Chokes of Kashmir, the intelligent youth, the one who gathers the knowledge of all worlds. He is shown in princely clothes, beating a hand drum and holding a skull bowl. Guru Nyamarosa, the Sunray Yogi, who illuminates the darkness of the mind through the insight of Dzogchen. He is shown as a naked yogi dressed only in a loincloth and holding a Khatvanga which points towards the sun. Guru Dorje Drolo, the fierce manifestation of Vajrakala known as Diamond Guts, the comforter of all, imprinting the elements with wisdom treasure. Guru Senjradog of Nalanda University. University, the line of debate, promulgator of the Dharma throughout the 6 realms of sentient beings. He is shown in a very fierce form, dark blue and imitative of the powerful Bodhisattva Vajrapani, holding a thunderbolt scepter in one hand and a scorpion in the other. Padmasambhava's various Sanskrit names are preserved in mantras such as those found in the Yangji Sangrig Desen Yang Zada Zogs Kyi Blama Guru, Mt Shanbrayad by Bragduas Grub Pa Yesgesbdudrtsis of Brang Cha Zhebya Ba. Attributes: Pure Land Paradise. His Pure Land Paradise is Zangdok Pulri. Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri. Padmasambhava said, "My father is the intrinsic awareness, Samantabhadra. My mother is the ultimate sphere of reality, Samantabhadri. I belong to the caste of non-duality of the sphere of awareness. My name is the glorious lotus born. I am from the unborn sphere of all phenomena. I act in the way of the Buddhas of the 3 times." Teachings and practices ascribed to Padmasambhava. The Vajraguru Mantra. The Vajraguru Mantra Om Aham Vajraguru Padmisadiham is favored and held in esteem by sadhakas. Like most Sanskritic mantras in Tibet, the Tibetan pronunciation demonstrates dialectic variation and is generally Om Ahang Benzaguru Pemasadihang. In the Vajrayana traditions, particularly of the Nyingmapa, it is held to be a powerful mantra engendering communion with the 3 Vajras of Padmasambhava's mind stream and by his grace, all enlightened beings. In response to Yesh Tsogyal's request, the great master himself explained the meaning of the mantra, although there are larger secret meanings too. The 14th century tertön Karma Lingpa has a famous commentary on the mantra. The 7-line prayer to Padmasambhava. The 7-line prayer to Padmasambhava is a famous prayer that is recited by many Tibetans daily and is said to contain the most sacred and important teachings of Dzogchen. Jamgonju Mipam Gyatso composed a famous commentary to the 7-line prayer called White Lotus. It explains the meanings, which are embedded in many levels and intended to catalyze a process of realization. These hidden teachings are described as ripening and deepening in time, with study and with contemplation. Tulku Thondup says, enshrining the most sacred prayer to Guru Padmasambhava, White Lotus elucidates its 5 layers of meaning as revealed by the eminent scholar Ju Mipam. This commentary now makes this treasure, which has been kept secret among the great masters of Tibet for generations, available as a source of blessings and learning for all. There is also a shorter commentary, freely available, by Tulku Thondup himself. There are many other teachings and terms and widely practiced tantric cycles incorporating the text as well as brief ones such as terma revelation, of Guru Chowang. Termas. Padmasambhava also hid a number of religious treasures in lakes, caves, fields and forests of the Himalayan region to be found and interpreted by future tertöns as spiritual treasure finders. According to Tibetan tradition, the Bardo Thodol was among these hidden treasures, subsequently discovered by a Tibetan tertön, Karma Lingpa. Tantric cycles. Tantric cycles related to Padmasambhava are not just practiced by the Nyingma. They even gave rise to a new offshoot of Bon which emerged in the 14th century called the New Bon. Prominent figures of the Sama schools such as the Karmapas and Sakya lineage heads have practiced these cycles and taught them. Some of the greatest tertöns revealing teachings related to Padmasambhava have been from the Kagyu Sakya lineages. The hidden lake temple of the Dalai Lamas behind the Patala called Lukang is dedicated to Dzogchen teachings and has murals depicting the 8 manifestations of Padmasambhava. Padmasambhava established established Vajrayana Buddhism and the highest forms of Dzogchen in Tibet and transformed the entire nation. Consorts and 25 main disciples. Many of those who gathered around Padmasambhava became advanced tantric practitioners as well as helping to found and propagate the Nyingma tradition. The most prominent of these include Padmasambhava's 5 main female consorts, also known as Dakinis, and his 25 main disciples. The 5 main consorts of 5 wisdom Dakinis. Padmasambhava had 5 main female tantric companions, beginning in India before his time in Tibet and then in Tibet as well. When seen from an outer, or perhaps even historical or mythological perspective, these 5 women from across South Asia were known as the 5 consorts. That the women come from very different geographic regions is understood as mandala, a support for Padmasambhava in spreading the Dharma throughout the region. Yet when understood from a more inner tantric perspective, these same women are understood not as ordinary women but as Dakinis. From this point of view, they are known as the 5 wisdom Dakinis. Each of these consorts is believed to be an emanation of the tantric yidam Vajravarahi. As one author writes of these relationships, yet in reality he was never separate from the 5 emanations of Vajravarahi: the body emanation, Mandarava; the speech emanation, Yesh-Ogul; the mind emanation, Shakyadima; the qualities emanation, Kalashidi; and the activity emanation, Trashyachiran. In summary, the 5 consorts, wisdom Dakinis, were Yesh-Ogul of Tibet, who was the emanation of Vajravarahi's speech; Mandarava of Zahor, northeast India, who was the emanation of Vajravarahi's body; Belwang Kalashidi of northwest India, who was the emanation of Vajravarahi's quality; Belmo Sakyadevi of Nepal, who was the emanation of Vajravarahi's mind; and Tashik Idran of Bhutan, who was the emanation of Vajravarahi's activity. While there are very few sources on the lives of Kalashidi, Sakyadevi, and Tashik Idran, there are extant biographies of both Yesh-Ogul and Mandarava that have been translated into English and other Western languages. The 25 main disciples of Padmasambhava. The 25 main disciples, also called the disciples of Chimfu. In various lists these include King Trisong Detsen, Denmati Samang, Dorya Dujum of Nanam, Kai Chung Lotsawa, Gyalwa Chang Chub of Lasam, Gyalwa Chuyang, Gilway Lodro of Dr. Eokute, J. Nanakamara of Nyak, Kawa Paltsek, Kandro Yesh-Ogul, the Princess of Kachin, Konshog Yungne of Langdro, Lapul the Sok Po, Nam Kai Nying Po, Zhang Yeshda, Lalung Pelgi Dorya, Palji Senj, Palji Wangchuk, Palji Wangchuk of Odran, Palji Yesh, Rinchen Chok of Ma, Samye Yesh, Shubu Palji Senj, Varotsana, the Great Translator, Yesh Yang, Udra Nying Po of Gyalmo, also Vimala Mitra, Tingzan Zangpo, Gallery,